I'm Melissa.
Standing in the boardroom of our family construction company, the air crackles with tension. Richard Thompson, a powerful real estate mogul, is glaring at me, his face red with anger as he waves the contract termination notice I've just placed on the table. His daughter, Isabella, who's married to my brother Ryan, is standing beside him, her eyes filled with fury. It all started long before this explosive moment. Our family business, Thompson and Matthews Construction, was founded by my father, Henry. He was a hard, working man, but he had a soft spot for my brother Ryan, who was 38 and had a natural charm that drew people in. I, on the other hand, was the practical one. At 30, I'd worked my way up to become the CFO of the company, using my financial skills to double our revenue in just 4 years. My mother, Eleanor, was a traditional woman. She always believed that a woman's place was in the home, and she constantly reminded me that I needed to find a husband and start a family instead of focusing so much on my career. Meanwhile, Ryan, despite holding the title of Vice President of Client Relations, did very little actual work. He'd attend a few client dinners, tell some stories on the golf course, and take credit for the deals I'd painstakingly negotiated. When Ryan announced his engagement to Isabella Thompson, the daughter of Richard Thompson, the owner of Thompson Real Estate, a huge and influential real estate company, I knew things were going to change. Our company had held an exclusive contract with Thompson Real Estate for the past 5 years, worth millions annually, and I'd personally negotiated the most recent renewal. My mother was over the moon about the engagement. "This is a dream come true," she gushed. "The two families coming together like this will take our business to new heights." But I had a sinking feeling in my stomach. There was something calculating about Isabella and her family. They saw our company as a stepping stone, not as an equal partner. The 6 months leading up to the wedding were a nightmare. At the engagement party held at the Thompson Mansion, a sprawling estate that made our family home look like a shack, Isabella's mother, Victoria, looked me up and down and said, "Oh, you look so business-like." I was repeatedly introduced as Ryan's sister who works for the family business, even though I was the CFO who'd been the driving force behind our company's success. As the wedding preparations went on, Isabella started to treat me with subtle disrespect. When I offered to help with the wedding planning, she politely declined, saying she had professionals handling everything. But then she'd call me at work with trivial questions about Ryan's preferences. On the day of the wedding, things got even worse. I arrived at the venue early, only to be intercepted by the wedding planner. "We need you to handle the vendor issues," she said. "The florist brought the wrong flowers, and the band is missing their set list." I tried to explain that I was the groom's sister, not part of the wedding staff, but she insisted that Isabella specifically asked me to take care of these problems. I spent the next few hours solving problems that weren't mine, missing the pre-ceremony champagne toast and the moment when my father saw Ryan in his tuxedo for the first time. When I finally managed to get to my seat, I was placed in the back row, far from my family. And at the reception, I was seated in the kitchen annex, with the wedding planner, the photographer's assistant, and the venue coordinator. Isabella's mother, Victoria, came up to me and said, "We thought you'd be more comfortable here, away from all the couples. You're always so busy with work." I looked over at Ryan, who was sitting at the head table, laughing with Isabella and her family. When I asked Ryan why I was seated in the kitchen, he just said, "Isabella's family is different. Just go along with it for one day." After the wedding, I went back to work, trying to put the humiliation behind me. But then, while reviewing our quarterly financial statements, I noticed something strange. A series of small transfers, just under $50,000 each, had been made to an account I didn't recognize. After hours of investigation, I discovered that Ryan, with my father's approval, had been diverting company funds to invest in Thompson real estate projects for the past 18 months. When I confronted my father about it, he sighed and said, Ryan needed to show Isabella's family that he could bring value to the marriage. "This is an investment in our future. We're planning a merger with Thompson Real Estate." I was shocked. I, the CFO, had not been informed about this merger. I started to dig deeper and found out that the merger terms were not favorable to our company. Thompson Real Estate would essentially absorb us, and my position would be eliminated. My father was also sick, suffering from advanced cancer, but he hadn't told me. He was trying to secure Ryan's future at the expense of mine. But I wasn't going to let them destroy everything we'd built. I remembered the contract I negotiated with Thompson Real Estate. It had a termination clause that gave either the CEO or the CFO the right to end the contract in case of significant corporate restructuring or merger activity. So I decided to take action. I prepared a termination notice, signed it, and placed it on Richard Thompson's desk at his company headquarters. Then I called an emergency board meeting at our company. In the boardroom, when I presented the evidence of Ryan's financial misconduct and the secret merger plans, the room erupted in chaos. Richard Thompson and Isabella were furious, accusing me of ruining their plans. Ryan tried to defend himself, saying that the investments were strategic. But my father, after a long moment of silence, finally saw the truth. He stood up and said, "Melissa was right. We will not be merging with Thompson Real Estate, and we will terminate our contract immediately." The board voted unanimously in favor of my decision, with only Ryan abstaining. Richard Thompson threatened to bury our company, but I knew he was in a tough spot. Their showcase event for a new luxury development was about to happen, and they didn't have a construction partner. Isabella divorced Ryan, saying that his financial misconduct had violated their prenuptial agreement. In the aftermath, my mother was angry with me. She said I'd humiliated our family and destroyed Ryan's marriage. But I knew I'd done the right thing. I was protecting our company, our employees, and our family legacy. Over the next few weeks, we faced a lot of challenges. Some employees loyal to Ryan resigned, and we received anonymous threats. But with the support of my father and the loyal employees, we managed to weather the storm. 3 months later, a young man named Ethan Thompson, Isabella's younger brother, came to my office. He told me that Thompson Real Estate was in serious trouble. His father had overextended the company, and they were on the verge of bankruptcy. He also apologized for what his family had done to us, and said he wanted to help. I decided to give him a chance. We were expanding our sustainable building initiatives, and he had a background in environmental design. He joined our team, and he quickly proved his worth. A year after my father's passing, we held a memorial event for him. Our company was not only surviving but thriving. We'd formed a new partnership with another development company, and our reputation for ethical business practices had grown. Ryan also came around. He apologized for his mistakes and started working hard at the company, using his natural charm to build better client relationships. My mother finally realized the value of my contributions and apologized for underestimating me. Looking back, that humiliating moment at the wedding was a turning point. It taught me that sometimes standing up for myself means going against my own family. But in the end, it was worth it. I've reclaimed my family's legacy, and I've learned that true strength comes from believing in myself and my worth.